What's up, everybody? We are back. It is almost a new year. We just had celebrated Christmas. Everything's hectic. There's bowl games, transfer portals. I'm joined as always by the great and awesome co-host, Billy Derrick. Billy, how are you and how was your Christmas?
I'm good, Chase. It was a great Christmas, and I'm ready to be talking playoffs now. I mean, the last couple of weeks of bowls have, I'll be honest, have been tougher to watch than usual. But I'm ready, man. And now we got starting today. I think yesterday had some good games, but starting today, you've got pretty good games, especially on Monday with the national title. So, or not national title yet, the semifinal. So I'm looking forward to it, man. This is like one of the best times of the year for college sports fans.
I don't know if you noticed this. I feel like every bowl game I've watched so far this year is a rain game. Like every one of them.
Yeah, both yesterday, the Fenway Bowl and then the Pinstripe Bowl. Both of those were pretty rainy. And I think even the Florida games, a lot of the Florida bowls, like Tennessee and Iowa, I heard that's going to be in like the 50s, mid 50s. And so, I don't think it's kind of a weird time of year with all this bad weather. Like in Nashville, we had a lot of rain on Christmas, and now it's starting to get colder. So I think you might see some colder and maybe rainier sights now, like in Memphis today for the Liberty Bowl. So, uh, but yeah, I'm with you. They've been not only bad football a lot of these games, but bad weather.
I was in Nashville for Christmas this year as well, and it was that rain. It was crazy, and we want snow and we get rain, so that's what Tennessee weather is. But we love the state, and you know, it is what it is. We'll get snow, I'm sure, in March. But speaking of bowl games, we got a quick show today. Just gonna preview the semifinals for Monday, and then we'll be back next week to recap those semifinals and talk a little bit more about the national championship game, and maybe, just maybe, touch on basketball a little bit. We're kind of getting into conference play next week, so it lines up perfectly um, with scheduling, honestly. Billy, real quick before we get into the playoffs, is there a bowl game that you are most excited about this weekend besides the playoffs?
Well, that's a good one. Honestly, today I'm really interested to see how Missouri fares against Ohio State. Ohio State, obviously, with Kyle McCord headed to Syracuse. I'll be interested to watch that one. I know we've got one going on right now, which I think is a pretty good matchup, Clemson, Kentucky. Um, but yeah, honestly, other than the Monday games, there isn't really one that I like. I mean, I guess Ole Miss, Penn State, that's a pretty good one. The thing about Georgia, Florida State, I would have said that one. But the thing about that matchup is that you have so many opt-outs and so many injuries. So it's just not a very appealing matchup. I think people know that. I think Georgia's gonna dog walk them, by the way. I think they're lasered in right now. You've got that Barstool Bowl on Saturday, which is always pretty entertaining. I'll probably check that out. Music City Bowl, kind of a dull matchup. Auburn, I feel like Auburn's in that bowl every other year here in Nashville. But yeah, I mean, honestly, Liberty and Oregon, can Liberty compete against Oregon on Monday, and then Iowa, Tennessee. To be honest, I know you asked for one, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably go tonight. To be honest, I'm really excited to see Missouri, and because I'm sure they're ready to play and prove to everyone else that they can hang. I'm sure with these bowls, who wants to be there? Who wants to play? So we'll see if Missouri wants to play, and I'm excited to see what they can do. So I'd probably say that one, but honestly, there are a lot of others that I'm looking forward to watching. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably say that one.
I have the Clemson game on now. Clemson just kicked a field goal to go up 3-0 on Kentucky early, so that game should play out to be a pretty fun ball game. I
Hmm.
guess for me, biasedly, I think I'm more excited about Tennessee than any bowl game this weekend because it's Nico time. We've been waiting for it forever, ever since he committed, and it's finally here. And I'm beyond excited. It's gonna look different just because, opt-outs, injuries, our whole secondary is gone basically, transfer portal wise. So yeah, I think I'm looking forward to that. Um, I know I've mentioned my brother going to Ole Miss. He's actually getting to go to the Peach Bowl. I'm kind of jealous about that. So he'll be down in Atlanta this weekend. Have to get the inside scoop. For that bowl game, I think Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss dog walks Penn State. I know you said Georgia's going to dog walk Florida State. I'm going Ole Miss to dog walk Penn State. That Penn State offense is bad. Um,
Yeah.
they're not going to be able to keep up with Ole Miss scoring wise.
What's
So
up with all these awful Big Ten offenses?
yeah, they're
I mean,
Big Ten. I mean, even Ohio State's offense is bad.
yeah, they don't have the same level of athlete. Um, even in the Big 12, you've got similar, like I think the Big 12 has a more similar level of athlete to the SEC. Obviously, the SEC is superior. I think most people, I think if you ask a lot of Big Ten people, they'd probably say that. But these offenses, man, I mean, there's a reason the Big Ten is more comparable to the NFL product right now. They're just not, they don't have as many athletes. They're good defensively, and they're usually pretty good on special teams. Um, but Michigan, another good example, they can't throw the football. So I think you're right about the Big Ten, and we'll see if, Oregon, USC, UCLA going into the conference makes a difference. Because if it doesn't, Big Ten could be in trouble. So they're relying heavily on these Pac-12 teams coming in to kind of raise the profile of that conference because the Big Ten, they need some offense, man.
Yeah, that they do make up for it defensively. I'll give them that. Which the old saying, defense wins championships. But I feel like in college football now you have to have not you don't maybe not the most high powered offense, but you have to have an offense that could put up 30, 35, week in and week out. And I think when we talk about the playoffs here in just a second, that'll be the big thing leading in with Michigan. And I guess we can just go ahead and get into it now. Michigan and Alabama kicking off at 4 o'clock on Saturday or Monday. I see Saturday college football, man. It's weird saying Monday, but they
It is weird.
kick off the Rose Bowl at 4 o'clock. Um, what are your thoughts on this game? First, because I have a weird kind of look at this ball game.
Yeah, you know, I've I've been on Alabama since the beginning, and I don't really think it's going to be a very difficult game for Alabama. We've been doubting Alabama, I think on this podcast, uh, most of the season. At least most picks. Like I don't think we've been all Alabama. Um, but there's just something about them, man. And Michigan's a 2-point favorite. Nick Saban has been in these big games. I mean, I don't know how many times. Jim Harbaugh has been in these types of big games 3, 4 times. With something really on the line. They lost an opportunity to get into the title game last year. Lost to TCU. So I don't know. I'm on Alabama. I don't think I've heard a lot of people say Alabama's going to dog walk them. I'm not buying that. Um, but I do think Alabama has has more depth. Like in the fourth quarter, can Michigan hang? I'm not saying Alabama's going to, dominate and manhandle Michigan. I don't think they can really do that. But I think athletically, I think it's going to be Jalen Milroe getting it to those receivers, Isaiah Bond. Um, and that like they've got I think Bama's got weapons that people don't realize. I've been on Alabama from the beginning, and I'm going to stay on Alabama. Like I said, I don't think they're going to destroy them or anything. Um, but I trust Nick Saban, and I think at the very least Alabama gets to the national title. Might be a different story when I'm picking them in the national title, but I think at the very least they're going to get there. Um, I mean, I don't think Alabama's gone. I guess uh, they went 0-1 in that playoff when they lost to Ohio State, but other than that, I mean, Bama, when they're in the playoff, they get to the title, and then they usually win it. So it's hard to bet on against Alabama. I don't love the pick there. Like I keep second guessing myself there and saying Michigan's the best team in the country. They're number one for a reason. But I don't know. I don't want to be the one to bet against Nick Saban and regret it.
It's so hard to bet against Saban, especially like these spots. You mentioned Michigan being there. I feel like Michigan's made the playoffs. What twice, 3 times with Harbaugh, and they've yet to make a national title. They've not made it. They get there, and there's all the talk of this could be the year Harbaugh does it, and then they can't get out of the first round. Um, so that's kind of where my head lies with it. I think I think we talked off air, maybe on air, before the um SEC title game, and I was just thinking Saban's gonna do it again, isn't he? He's gonna work his magic again, and they're gonna freaking wind up with another national title. Um, and I think there's a good possibility of that happening. And there's also, I mean, there's a decent possibility that Michigan does beat them, and they finally, slay that dragon of the first round of the playoffs. I mean, there's a slight chance. Billy, just a little background. The spread right now for this game, Michigan minus 1.5. 56% of the money though is on Bama to cover. So,
Yeah, I haven't actually bet on it, but I will. I'm taking Alabama. Um, I just think that thing you said just there about Michigan, they haven't gotten it done, and I think that gets inside the heads of players and coaches. When you get in opportunities like this, if this is a close game late in the fourth quarter, Alabama is going to be the team that's more comfortable because they've got a head coach that has been there and done that and won games. Meanwhile, Harbaugh and this coaching staff, they just seem to kind of shrivel up in these moments, and they had a really good team last year. And then even the year before, it's not like they didn't have the team to do it. So I'm with you. I think Alabama's experience as a program will pull through for them.
uh, yeah, I think I'm gonna take. I don't know, I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna take Michigan. I'll be the one to take the bait. I'll take Michigan, and the over is at 44.5. Both teams have hit the over like 8 times in the last 10 games, so I'll take the over too.
Yeah,
Um,
I love the over actually. Um, I'll take Bama plus the 1.5.
and then after the Bama game, we go to the other semifinal game, Texas and Washington. In the Sugar Bowl, kicking off at 7:45 right now. Texas 4.5 point favorites. 61% of the public though on Washington plus 4.5. Over under 62.5.
Yeah,
What
it always scares me when the public is heavy on either side. You hear the saying of, fade the public. Um, I still look at this and I look at both these matchups and I just don't want to overthink them. Texas and Alabama played each other this year. It was a great game. I mean, Texas kind of pulled away there late in the fourth quarter, but I mean, these two teams are in the SEC. Yeah, I mean, I like saying Texas and Oklahoma are in the SEC now. Um, Washington's a Pac-12 team. I know they had a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback, but I think Texas is bigger on the D line. I think they'll get to Penix. Um, and Chase, I think this is a game that Texas's defense could dominate. I don't think Quinn Ewers has to be special. I just think he has to take care of the football. Um, Surprisingly, I like the under, just because of Texas's defense. I don't think Washington has seen a defense like Texas's this year, and specifically the front. I don't know how good their secondary is, but their front is SEC level front. Um, that's a lot of points, 63.5. So real quick, I look at that under and say, I like it. And then I like Texas too. Um, I'm very tempted to pick Wash. It's 4 right now, right?
it is 4.5 right now.
Okay, 4.5. I think Texas is going to win. I'm tempted to pick Washington to cover, but the Horns to win. Um, I'll take Texas to cover though. Don't love that pick again. These games are impossible to pick. I don't know why. This is probably the hardest playoff to pick. Um, but yeah, I'll go Texas. I think they'll dominate the fans in New Orleans. I think that's a big thing to watch. Um, Washington coming all the way over. How well will they travel? Texas, they're gonna be ready to roll in New Orleans at night. That's gonna be fun. So give me Texas to play Alabama in the national title, and I guess we'll do another podcast to pick our title games.
I will say this. In the last 10, Texas 6-3-1 against the spread. Washington 4-6 against the spread. So that
Bingo.
that does trend in your favor. I guess I'm gonna continue to fade the public like I did the first game. Give me Texas too. I'll be the old public hater. I'll take Texas minus 4.5. Um, over what is it? What did I say this? The over under was 62.5. Man, 62.5. I'll take the over. I could see this being 42-35. I know Texas's defense is solid. Washington's defense isn't. And what Texas put up 40 against Bama. Am I correct in saying that in the first game they were close?
Yeah, I think they were. I don't think they got to 40. I could be wrong there. But it was high 30s, I think at least. So yeah, I mean they put up points.
So if that's the case, I mean Bama's defense is pretty good, and if they do that to a good defense, and, we have a warmed up. Both teams now are warmed up, obviously, after playing a full season. So yeah, I'll take the over 62.5. Give me Texas minus 4.5. So you have Bama Texas rematch. I will weirdly have Michigan Texas, and both outcomes are going to be fun. And you know, we even if we get Michigan Washington, Alabama Washington, both of those matchups, like I think for sure we have a entertaining national title game.
Yeah, I mean at the very least, we're gonna get a damn good national title, and I think this is gonna be the best playoff we've seen yet. I think one of the first two might have been the first one. Was great. Was that Ohio State Alabama? That was the first playoff.
Yes, yeah, it was
Okay,
Ohio
that
State, Alabama, and Florida State, Oregon.
yeah, that was awesome because you had star power on all four teams. Um, you had you had some balance, right? From 1 to 4, there wasn't there just wasn't much blowout potential. So it's funny, the first playoff was really good. Now this last 4 team playoff at least, I think is really good, and I think it's healthy for football. Um, I like last year there was there was some blowout potential, and there was a blowout. Well, not I guess not necessarily a blowout, but it didn't seem to be that same sort of balance. And you've seen some blowouts, of course, in the past, Alabama, Washington, but because of the portal, because of NIL, you're not going to get as many blowouts because you have a quarterback like a Penix go from Indiana to Washington. Um, and so, yeah, I can't wait. I agree. I think this is going to be the best national title, no matter who it is. Or at least we've had good national titles, Alabama, Clemson, but Clemson's not in it, right? Ohio State's not in it. So fresh blood, I think is always good.
And that's why I was kind of hoping Florida State would get in. I know Texas technically represents the SEC now, but it would have been fun to see a non, you know, intact SEC team in the playoff. But we're here now. We have our 4 teams. This whole season has been leading up to Monday, so it's gonna be fun. We're gonna be rocking and rolling. We're either gonna be winning money, losing money, and then we'll say, "Oh, we're tired from gambling," and then the next day we'll be right back on it. So it's gonna be fun. But
I will say this, Chase. I know I gotta go, but I want to get this out there. I'm riding a parlay right now. I need let me log in real quick. I want to get this to you because it's kind of crazy. In
okay,
bowl season, it's even harder to bet. Um, I had Kansas money line against UNLV. Of
okay,
course, that hit. Virginia Tech minus 10.5 against Tulane. That
yep,
hit. K-State minus 2.5 last night. The over 60.5 against for Arizona, Oklahoma last night. I need 2 more. The under in Oregon State, Notre Dame. Both
okay,
teams' quarterbacks are out.
yeah.
41.5. I'm going to be sweating that one out. Um, but I'm a lot more confident in Missouri, Ohio State tonight. Missouri plus 1.5. So wanted to throw that out there. Actual
That
actual money on the line.
that is incredible. We're gonna be rooting for you. I'm gonna be rocking for you. I started 9-0 in bowl games this year, and I think I'm 13-8 now.
These have been weirdly a lot easier to pick for me. Right as I say that, I might lose these last two, but I don't know. I think
Lots
all
of
you have to do is
blowouts
ask.
too.
Yeah, all you have to do is ask yourself which team wants to be there, you know? And again, there might be situations where both kind of, want to be there, but which team you can keep going, like which team wants to be there more?
Yep.
Like today, does Clemson really want to be there against Kentucky today? You know, I mean, maybe they do. Notre Dame in the Sun Bowl. You know, do they want to be playing in El Paso, Texas? You know, on a Friday afternoon? Um, so I think that's just the biggest thing to look at when you bet. So anybody listening,
I
got
think
some advice there.
I do think Oregon State does want to be there after the disrespect that they've garnered a lot
Yes.
this season. So that they would love that notch in their belt
Mm,
to end this season on. But yeah, I think that'll about wrap it up. We're gonna head out and we'll be back next week to recap Monday's games. And we'll have a national championship by the time we come back. So I think it's gonna be national title centric next week. So I'm here for it. And I know Billy's gonna be excited about it. So I think that's gonna about do it. We will talk to you guys next week.